Oh, I like the sound of the bell. Thank you.
Yes, it's quite nice to welcome everyone back to Patroma Therapy. Hope everyone got a good night's sleep, maybe had a couple dreams. Hope your anxiety levels are good. Hope all the cats out in the rain are finding shelter. It's getting ready to rain here in Dallas with thunder building and pressure and humidity. But today, I thought we'd talk a little bit about dreams. Did you dream anything recently?
Yeah, I had a neck pain this past night, but I had lots of dream, mostly lucid or vivid. You choose the one, and but I don't remember anything. It's funny how you wake up, you open your eyes, and you don't remember anything you've just dreamed about. Isn't that a pity?
But, but you can, if you close your eyes and go back to the feeling level that you were at, you can catch a dream. So if you close your eyes,
Mm,
if you just close your eyes now, don't go to sleep, and just try to be in
thank
that
you.
feeling that you were in. What's that feeling like?
That felt lucid. It's pity I don't remember
No,
them because otherwise I would have written a good story.
no. The feeling has to be I'm calm, I'm nervous, I'm anxious. Okay, let's
A
not
little
do
bit
that.
anxious, a little bit anxious, but yesterday we've practiced some techniques to handle anxiety, and I find it helpful.
Well, I find the words that people use very interesting, and I don't mean to be critical of you, but you can
Please do
sometimes,
feel free to be critical.
you can be a little bit of a pain in the neck.
I can. I know. I've had
No, no,
awful
no,
this part.
no.
Listen,
What I mean is,
okay.
you said that you had a physical pain in your neck, and then
Okay.
I'm just saying the expression in English, pain in the neck, means
Yeah, I know. You're being politically
someone's.
correct, but there is another expression which you don't want to say.
Yes, it's sometimes used on Grinder. Okay,
Yeah.
so
No. Let's not be. Okay, go on.
let's not go there. Well, in our cover shot, you see a man looking into a mirror. And when you see a man looking into the mirror, you might think of a song called Man in the Mirror, Michael Jackson. You
Can
might
you
think of,
just give me the tune? I don't remember
no,
such song.
okay, that's your homework. I
Okay.
can't sing. I
Why are
can't
you?
sing.
Don't be shy. Maybe you just give me just a few, few notes.
No, I can't.
Okay.
I can't. You're being such a pain in the neck.
I
Another
apologize.
another another musical group that talks about dreams is Fleetwood Mac, and
Mm.
they're experienced a resurgence in popularity. The cover shot is actually a photograph of Delmore Schwartz, who is an American poet and short story writer. There's a lot of synchronicity going on right now. He was born in 1913, died in 1966, and he's an American poet and short story writer. And both of us like short stories. He was born in Brooklyn, and back in, talking about synchronicity, a day or so ago, you and I started a short story called Drop and Roll. And as we're working on this short story, which might be published when it's ready, one of the scenes takes place in Brooklyn, New York, and a man goes to a little coffee shop restaurant called Cafe Steinhoff. So we have the story that we're writing, Drop and Roll. And then I'm just reading that Delmore Schwartz was born in Brooklyn. He attended Columbia University, University of Wisconsin, and he got a BA in philosophy at NYU. And then he went on to do some graduate work at Harvard. So I'd say that guy's pedigree is pretty good. But
Hmm.
one of the reasons I like Delmore Schwartz is he has a short story. It's actually a longish short story that's called In Dreams Begin Responsibility. And it's a wonderful story that I would suggest that anyone who likes to read, might take a look at. He was actually born to Jewish Romanian immigrants who came to the United States. And so they settled around, Brooklyn, New York. When you think about dreams, what do you think their purpose is?
First of all, I think that sometimes I believe dreams have deeper meaning to them. Although I cannot somehow support this idea, but sometimes you do want to know what that meaning was, and you open your eyes and you still remember it, and you'll start to look or Google it, the interpretation. And sometimes you feel good, sometimes you feel bad. Maybe it's a mind games, or maybe not. We don't know. I am kind of agnostic dream-wise, aren't you?
Am I agnostic?
I am.
Wait a minute. Okay, well, wait a minute. We got to go slower. Okay, so when you talk about the interpretation of dreams, well, first I have to say that in 1899 was the seminal work by Sigmund Freud, who did some early work on interpretation and meaning of dreams, and many other dream analysts have stood on the shoulders of Freud, Jung. So when you go online to look at the meaning of dreams, you have to think about who's the author of that online article, because if it's
Usually I just scroll through many, and there are positive interpretations and negative. I tend to overlook the negative, but I concentrate on positive. I like
that's
positive.
good.
Yeah, thank you.
That's helpful. We have very, very, very recently started talking about synchronicity, and a couple of our subscribers in another context we've been talking about synchronicity, Martin, and also this fellow who goes by Voyeuristic One. But I mean, he's really a nice guy. He's not a strange guy. But after we finished the episode yesterday, I was puttering around doing a few things here, and somebody contacted me and said, "Oh, are you a writer?" And I said, yeah, I'm a writer. He said, "Have you ever thought of writing any poetry?" I go, yeah. He goes, he's a writer too. So I'm going to refer to this person as Raj, R-A-J, and he lives in India. And he's a writer working on his first novel. And we decided this was like while you were sleeping, I was busy.
I know. That's why
contacting the world.
Mm-hmm.
You're just sleeping.
It's very convenient because when you sleep, I'm kind of active, and then vice versa. So we are not losing any time.
So this fellow Raj, that isn't his real name, but he said, "What do you think about this image?" And he sent me an image of it's a black and white photograph of kind of clouds building up and waves crashing on the shore, and a lone small figure standing on the shore. And he said, "Well, you think you could write a poem about this?" I said, "I got it." He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, when I look at an image, or it could be a cover shot or something, the idea of the poem the whole thing comes to me. The metaphor and the poem's going to be about comes to me, and then I just work out the details. So that's just how I write. But it's a very, very short poem, which I'm going to just read now. It's called Thunder. So this is the poem I wrote while you were asleep. Thunder in his heart. Go ahead.
No, I'm all ears.
Okay, the title is Thunder. Thunder in his heart, wind on the night. Her wild words stirred the waves and tugged at his mind. All that was said and what was left unspoken pounded in his chest like the wings of a bird bound to fly. 19 April 2023. I kind of liked that.
Would you like to know my opinion?
Yeah, that's why for doing this episode.
Thank you. I like what you wrote, and but you know how I consider poems. If it doesn't rhyme, it makes me it feel incomplete. But I've noticed recently that lots of poems are like that, and that makes them perfect for songs. So basically, if you know the melody, you can somehow combine them both, not rhyme and poem, and the melody, and you got the great song. Isn't it wonderful?
That is wonderful. That is. Well, there
Maybe
is
you would
something.
be able to again to make come up with a melody for the poem you've just written.
No, I'm not a musician. I'm a writer, an
Have
art,
you
a
ever
visual.
tried? I mean, you've never tried before. There is first time for everything.
Yeah, well, I wrote some poem. I wrote a song with somebody that was, it's another synchronicity thing. Some person was in San Antonio, and I'm originally from San Antonio, and I don't know, somehow we were talking about cemeteries in San Antonio. And then I asked him I said, I'm like a professor, I'm a writer. And he said, well, he's a musician. I go, oh, okay. And then he said he really liked to visit more, but he's getting ready to go on a trip. It was going to London, and he stayed. He stayed or he went by the same house that uh, Jimi Hendrix had an apartment in. Jimi Hendrix had an apartment there, and also in that same building. I don't know if it was like Bach or Beethoven or somebody also had an apartment there. It was like this. So anyhow, we wrote a couple. We wrote a couple. I did the lyrics and he did the music, but that's like another lifetime ago. Yeah, I don't sit down and write. I don't write songs, but feel free to to write. Feel free to write a song. We have another subscriber named Massimo De Angelis, originally from Rome, who lives in the United States now. Fabulous composer, kind of I call it abstract jazz. But Massimo can take those words and do something with it. Well, back to our like hashtags of Freud, Jung, Fleetwood Mac, Delmore Schwartz, lucid dreams. I was so surprised at how synchronicity works. Like, how could I meet this fellow named Raj less than 24 hours ago when you and I were talking about synchronicity? Then he was typing a little bit, when I met him, 8 hours ago, about how there's no such thing as chance. there's no such thing as accidents. I kept thinking, well, is he you? Is he just, are you just pretending to be Indian? Are you my imaginary friend? It was just, then I thought I was crazy. I better just go to sleep. Does that make sense? I don't know.
How do you feel about silence we have?
Uh, a little nervous, but okay.
See, you're getting accustomed. Because yesterday you couldn't have a pause, or maybe it was just me, I don't remember. Pause
Both.
make me both pause. So okay, when we had a pause, that made us uncomfortable, and now we're more or less okay.
A little bit farther down the road, an episode is going to be called Silence.
I wonder if we don't talk to each other for 5 minutes, and listeners would be wondering, are we over, or is something happened to the connection we have? I don't know. Maybe the line
just
went
an
bad.
episode on silence.
We call the episode Silence in the middle of, I don't know, 30 minutes recording.
No, I don't think anyone's done that yet. I think we need to do that. Literally, not only am I laughing out loud, there's tears in my eyes because it's so funny.
Because I thought that would make our listeners very anxious, and we would have the result we wouldn't want to have.
No, we can't do it in the middle of a 30-minute episode, but we could do like 2-3 minutes of silence, just like right now, to just kind of see, how
People will
it feels.
start unsubscribe from our channel. Actually, we don't want to do that.
These crazy people. Well,
by the way, you said yesterday that if you're crazy, you're normal, or something like that. If there's nothing crazy with you, you're normal. Or abnormal,
well,
I don't remember. Anyway, you're normal.
We're living in stressful times. There's financial, emotional, economic loss that has gone on, and people are trying to recover. And now there's a new strand of COVID called Acanthus or something like that. I don't know what it is. I just read about that, and they're talking about maybe Biden should not have, ended the Center of Disease Control thing, like, COVID's over. And I don't know, we're just living in challenging times, and we're all trying to do the best we can. And what's sort of funny is this is the best we can, when you say that you're not satisfied, you said that you're not satisfied with your life often, and people that go to therapy aren't satisfied and they want it to be a little bit better. But if you're not worrying and stressing and trying to figure things out, I don't know, you must be crazy. So that's why I think being a little bit zany is good. Does that make sense?
I don't want to be rude, but what about, if, I don't know, public shaming, would that be the word that we can apply to our episodes when, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't want to say that. I meant that public shaming in them.
No, I think it's okay, because what you're saying is that, we're commenting on how people are dealing with stress. We're commenting on how people go or don't go to therapy. And I think that most people who are following us understand that there's a bit of humor, a little bit of sarcasm, a little bit of hyperbole in our talk. So I don't think anyone's going to jump off a cliff or, be very, very upset. We're just kind of throwing some things out there. I had this dream last night that I woke up and I started to write it down. And then you were saying, well, maybe we should do an episode about dreams. And
yeah, share it. Share your dreams you had last night.
Well, yeah. So you and I had been writing on this story called Drop and Roll. And in that story, there's a woman who wears a red sweater. So perhaps the dream mind took an element from real life, which is the writing that we did a little bit yesterday about this woman in a red sweater. The dream mind took that, planted it in my unconscious, and then wove a story around it. So this is what the dream is. And in the dream, there are two people sitting in a dance hall. So in Texas, there's lots of, dance halls and places where people go two-stepping and, ballroom dance, all kinds of places to go dancing. So in the dream, you are sitting to my right and I'm sitting on the left. We're just sitting at a table and we're just watching this ballroom dancing competition. So in the dream, you're to my right, you're right on my right, I'm to the left, and we're just, watching this ballroom dancing competition. And I don't know, maybe you have a drink, I don't know. And I just know in the dream that I am actually the woman and possibly you're the man, but I'm saying the dream is like this. The woman is wearing a black tango dress, and she has a little red scarf around her neck. And her hair is sort of twisted up in a French twist, because that's what you have to do for tango dancing, be really fabulous and amazing. And, tango is these various lunges and drops and lifts and things. So the woman is very concerned about how she looks and, what she's doing and feeling amazing and being amazing. And her partner on the dance floor is a man. And I think in tango, you barely touch hands. I don't think you're at different parts of the dance, you're touching, at different parts, you're not. But with the tango dance that we're watching, the woman is, executing the steps like great. And the man just kind of has his eyes lightly closed and he's just sort of feeling the music, kind of unaware that she's actually there. And he's just kind of dancing. And then I woke up. And then I felt like, why was that man not paying attention to me? So that was the dream. I just remember when I woke up thinking that little red scarf around her neck was kind of ominous. And then I kept thinking, well, the guy was just having so much fun dancing and just floating through the dance. Well, that was pretty cool. And then I wish that I could be the man. I mean, I don't want to be a man, but I'm saying in the dream.
I did not know that in tango they don't touch hands.
Well, I mean, they don't. It's not like swing. You have to throw each other and flip each other and grip each other's hands. I don't know. Well, this is tango light.
Did you remember the video I sent you a few days ago about men and women dancing? What movie was it? Mosquito Coast?
Yes. I like that. I like that type of dancing.
I like that scene too.
Yeah, it was really, really good. I guess that movie was made in 2021, wasn't it?
It's quite fresh. It's not a movie, it's a TV series. I guess it's a show.
Oh, okay. Well, I've been trying to reduce stress, so I haven't had my Netflix up, but it's up now. Yeah,
I guess that was an Apple original, but I don't remember. How come you remember what you've dreamed about?
Well, I don't always, but well, in my life, sometimes I'll go through a period, could be 2 weeks or 10 days, could be what I call it an anointed time where I'm meeting people that I'm supposed to meet and I'm having all these synchronistic moments and I'm having a lot of deja vu experiences and I'll be able to remember my dreams. And then it kind of fades off and I just don't remember for a while and I don't have deja vu and I'm not meeting amazing people. But I seem to be in that period right now where a lot of really, really meaningful coincidences are going on.
What if you, I don't know, could you keep a dream journal maybe?
I have like 47 journals full of dreams and poems and stories and songs. I have no, what I'm saying is I'm sitting here at a table and at my table, what I did when I woke up was I fixed a cup of tea and I got a piece of toast and I just started bullet pointing the dream point. So I didn't write it as a narrative like I was in the dance hall. I just bullet point the dream like, Ramon to my right, I'm on the left, next bullet point, watching a dance competition, next bullet point. So I just bullet point it so I don't lose it. So when I wake up, if I started to try to write it like I was in this dance hall, then the competition began. Like if it takes too long to write it, but if you just bullet point it, you can kind of capture it. So I just bullet pointed that, and then you mentioned, well, maybe we should do an episode on dreams. I go, yeah, okay. Well, let me refer to my bullet points.
Sometime when I go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say that sometime when I fell asleep, when I sleep at work at noon, it was a very strange experience. I know. Because people are not supposed to be sleeping at workplace. But, heart wants what it wants. And I have this recurrent dream. I don't know if you ever had the same dream twice. Did you?
Yes, go ahead. Like the theme of a dream recurs. Yeah. Yeah, I've had that.
Recurrent
what
dream.
Was it?
Like I'm parachuting myself off of a not the cliff, but some sort of Eiffel Tower, only much, much higher. And the feeling is real,
The
you know,
sensation
and I
of the
kind of
dream is
enjoy
real.
it too. And I happen to
The
enjoy it.
falling is real. The
The
falling is real.
fear, yes, the fear you have is real, and I happen to enjoy it. Not that I am, say, the masochistic type of guy, but that makes you think, right? Or not?
No, I mean, I would say that you're very intense and like
I am.
uh, you're very intense, and what you do with a lot of intensity, and what you feel with a lot of intensity, and it makes you think and wonder, and you're like a kind of a high energy guy. Now, I have a therapist friend who lives in Dallas, and we sometimes meet once a month or so, and we talk about this and that, you know, and and I was asking her, why do I do all these really, really crazy, insane, risky things? And she goes, well, you just love the thrill of running out onto the freeway when 18-wheeler trucks are going by. So I'm not running onto freeways, but what she means is that I like to live at that level. Like imagine a freeway and some 18-wheeler trucks are going by. By the way, shout out to Jeriden. But I like that thrill.
Yeah, that's very similar to what I experienced, I think, because the thrill you had in your dream felt real.
The what? Say it again.
The thrill, the
Thrill.
thrill of,
Yeah.
it felt real, right? Or
Well, you know.
sometimes I dream of people I have never seen. I have seen like last time 20, 30, I don't know how many years ago, like a primary school, and they come to my dream and start, I don't know, doing stuff. What would that mean?
Well, yeah, because those people that come back, there's some part of you that, like, well, I don't know. Freud said that, and or maybe it was Jung. I don't remember. Maybe it was Freud. An uninterpreted dream is like an unopened letter. It's from yourself to yourself. So you have the conscious and unconscious Roman, and the conscious Roman who's speaking now in Patroma therapy is telling me that some childhood friends appeared. Well, I would say as a Jungian therapist, there's a little message that they want to give you. So let's suppose there's boy X, boy Y, and girl Z, and you saw them in a dream. What message did they have for you when you were a little boy? Because that's the message you need to hear now.
Mm.
I'll sometimes see in a dream someone that I've never met before. Then a week later, I meet a person, and it sort of seems like I've met them before, but I haven't. I don't know. Once I was feeling really, I don't know if it was the beginning of the pandemic or I don't know. It was a time when my only uncle had passed away. It was really sad. And I had gone to San Antonio and my friend David was driving and there was an ice storm and it was March and I didn't go see my uncle. He was visiting some other people. But I've been talking to my uncle on the phone and then we drove back to Dallas. It was weird to have an ice storm in March. We got back here and then within a couple of weeks I got word that my uncle had passed away. And then somebody else died in Dallas that I was very fond of, and then somebody else died in Houston. So there were these 3 deaths. And I was just feeling kind of depressed. And so one of my ways of dealing with depression or sadness is just go to sleep, you know? Have some bourbon and coffee and go to sleep. So I remember I was sleeping a lot. And in my dream, I heard my mother's voice. So that was my mother's only brother. My mother had already passed away. And in the dream, I heard my mother's voice saying, Patty, just get up and try. Just get up and try. And I woke up feeling like it was a real message from my real mom telling me, just put one foot in front of the other. You can do this, kind of encouraging me, because she didn't have a very easy life. She had 6 children and traveled the world. But, the physical, I was in the physical present moment, and my mother had been dead for some years, but I heard her voice in my dream giving me a message. Now, the little children that are in your dream, I don't know if they gave you a message or how recently you've had that dream of people from the past, but it's pretty useful. It's not always easy to accept these messages from the other world.
You know how Buddhist philosophy or Hinduist, maybe I'm mistaken, but they interpret our life is as a dream, that we are asleep, but sometimes we wake up. So it's not you're having dream when you're asleep, it's rather when you're awake.
Yeah, that can really mess your mind up. I was kind of into that for a while. It's like, am I a man dreaming about a butterfly, or am I the butterfly dreaming I was a man? It's like, once you get like way out there, like I'm kind of a practical person too. Like I need to go put gas in my car and take out the garbage and go buy some more groceries. So I'm fond of the like Buddhist thought. I'm very attracted to it intellectually. But I have to wash my clothes and I have to cook my dinner, and the butterfly is not going to cook my dinner. Does that make any sense?
It does. It does, actually.
I
Sometimes
don't
you
know.
don't know what's real or not, and sometimes your dream's better than reality. I like
Oh,
that
yeah.
dreams. Yeah, you wake up and, wow, that was good. And now I'm back to that, shithole. I apologize.
Yeah.
I want to sleep
Yeah.
again and see that, whatever it was I had seen in dreams.
And like images are very powerful for me. Several years ago, I was I love to go to museums and travel, and I haven't seen the Prado. And Tony Carnes was telling me about the Tate up in London. I didn't get into the Tate yet. I'm not crazy about London, but maybe I'll go see the Tate. But I always wanted
I've
to
been
see the
there.
Hermitage in St. Petersburg. And I remember, it was like 4 or 5 years ago, that I was looking at like the virtual tours. You can look online and they'll have virtual tours. And I kept thinking, like, how am I going to do this? Like, I've got to get a plan to go see the Hermitage. And then it was around October or November, and I had not met you yet. I had not met you. I just briefly found you in some like art Google World community thing. And at my church, Holy Trinity, a group was going to Moscow, and then they were going to St. Petersburg. So it was this other bizarro synchronicity as I look back on it, that before I knew that the group was going to Moscow and St. Petersburg, and before I had even met you, I was looking at a virtual tour of the Hermitage. And I was just thinking, like this is like so great. I got to get a game plan. Like, it wasn't COVID yet. There were no travel restrictions. I had money and time and ability. And then I remember feeling really frustrated that, wow, like, why didn't I go with the group from Holy Trinity? Like, that would have been great. And this was the priest before Father Don. I forget what his name was, Tino or Toshio. A group went from Holy Trinity. Like, I know those people. And then I remember looking at their photos of all the stuff that they did. And then right around that time was when I met you. And I kept thinking, like, well, what's the chance I would meet like somebody who actually who's been to Boston, someone who has been to London? Like, what's the chance? Like, how does this work?
I was in Tate Modern in 2003. I think they've just opened. If I'm not mistaken, they've opened quite recently in 2003 or 4 when I guess that was the first year they set it up. It's located in abandoned power station building, I guess. And they didn't have a bridge across the river. I guess they just built it. Maybe I'm messing up my memory. Yeah, it was.
I don't know. I haven't been there. Yeah, I haven't been there. But no, Tony goes there quite often, and Tony is an trained as an artist and is doing some of his own paintings now, and he and I often talk about art and perspective and color and design and whatnot. So I'm always telling him that I want him to come to Manhattan and stay in Manhattan, and we'll go around all the Guggenheim and the Met and all that. And he goes, well, we just know each other in MeWe world. I'm not sure I'm ready to like get on a plane and come to Manhattan. But no, Tony's a great person, but he has shared quite a bit about his art adventures and spoken quite highly of the Tate. And I never really was, too sold on London, probably because I was with someone I wasn't crazy about when I went there. But you like the Tate?
No, no. I was going to say that the art is quite subjective. I mean, the notion of art. And Tate Modern kind of reminded me of Andy Warhol's pictures.
Oh, yeah.
I know he's quite famous and all, but I didn't get them. I just didn't. If you ask me what I like most, I say, oh, sorry, I got the name. Norman Rockwell.
Yeah. Oh,
drawings.
yes. Yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I feel vibes coming out of them, and I enjoy them. So maybe again, it's quite subjective, and I didn't get anything that other people get from modern art because Tate Modern.
Well, I mean, we have our art education. Like we know who, Caravaggio is and Picasso is and Norman Rockwell. But would we hang that in our home? Would we buy a print of it? So we have our personal preferences. But I know you have said that you have some symptoms of long-term COVID, but you may remember that we did an episode on Norman Rockwell.
Maybe we should do it again, because I really, I would love to have another episode. Yeah, I love his pictures.
No,
maybe we do an episode on Andy Warhol as well, and share the opinions.
Andy Warhol. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Like my brain is going to explode. My brain is going to explode. Yeah.
I have a huge book in my house with Andy Warhol's pictures.
Okay. Well, let's do one on each. Let's do an episode on Warhol and a separate episode on Norman Rockwell. Or you want to do it all in one episode? It'll be too long.
No, I am fine either.
Well, if you do the cover shot, the thumbs, like take a picture of the Andy Warhol of your book. Let that be the cover shot for Andy Warhol, and then I have a book on Norman Rockwell. I'll do the cover shot for Norman Rockwell. We'll just do it 2 separate episodes, but we can do them back to back. Well, that sounds pretty useful. Go ahead.
Yeah, before we start recording, we have expressed opinions. I don't remember what was the talk about, but I remember that Ground Control to Major Tom line I told you, and you said that's from Bob Dylan's song. And I know that Andy Warhol was quite close to Bob Dylan, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I have to check on that.
But I thought that was David Bowie.
And what did I say? Didn't I say David Bowie?
You said Bob Dylan.
God, see?
No. The reason you do that is David Bowie is
here. I am out of control.
No, listen. David Bowie is initial DB, and then Bob Dylan is BD. So what you have is like a syntax blip. No, I do that all the time. It's okay.
Okay,
it's
then
okay.
I'm not alone. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yes, that's.
I apologize.
But what do you like about that song? What do you like about that song? Ground Control to.
The melody is not there. Because what I like about songs is melody. And if there is no good melody, I think it's a bad song, whatever the text is. So if you share somehow, if you won't be against me making up melody, coming up with a song
yes.
for your poem you've read at the beginning, I would have loved to try.
That sounds good. Yeah, and then what you can do is you're working on some music. If there's, that sounds good. Let's do that.
Mm-hmm. What if? I mean, what's the worst that could happen? I like that. To say that.
What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah. Right. No one's getting hurt.
Yeah, no one's getting hurt, and so that's one of our yeah.
Motto.
Well, I didn't know that the song was called Space Oddity, not Space Odyssey, but Space Oddity. Is
You know
that
what I
true?
When I picked that up, there is a TV show. I'm sure you saw it many years ago, Friends. I mentioned that a few times, and the
Yeah.
Chandler Bing, uh, the funny character from one of the series, from the whole show actually. He mentioned that the ground control to Major Tom. He tried to parrot some line with Monica. I don't know, and that's why somehow it stuck with me. I didn't even I don't. I didn't even know the song existed
But you just saw it
until
in the
you
film.
told me.
Oh,
Yeah, in the TV show
TV show.
Friends. Do you know this TV show? I'm sure you do. Friends?
Well,
That
yeah,
ring any bell? Do you remember
yeah.
Chandler?
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Well, uh, David Anton's TV crush is Jennifer Aniston. So, I always have to mention him. Shout out to David Anton. I think he's,
Shout out to Jennifer Aniston.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Shout out to Jennifer Aniston. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Well, I'm trying to see if I can just get a little bit of volume here, and then I'm going to possibly close out with a little bit of the song. Ground control to Major Tom. Take your protein pills and put your helmet on. 10. Ground control to Major Tom. 7, 6. Commencing countdown, engines on. 3, 2. Check ignition and make us love with you.